This is how I went from 0 clients to completely sold out in 30 days without being famous and without using any paid ads whatsoever. My name is Luke and I'm the co-founder of Brave Brand, and our mission is to prove to you that you don't need to be famous to have a great online business and to change a lot of people's lives. Alright, so in this video I'm going to break down the exact strategy we used and we implemented only a few months ago now to launch a new product, a new course, launch our new brand, and sell it out completely in only 30 days. So that was the launch plan that we had. Now, the way we basically went about doing this was using SWAT. Now, this is a marketing principle that has been around for a long time. Not many people know about it, especially in the coaching and consulting industry, but this was something that was incredibly powerful for us and that enabled us to have a really clear plan. So towards the back end of last year, my main job was as an agency service, right? Selling marketing content, doing branding projects for clients and creating documentary films. So a lot of different stuff, but my whole job was around video production. And so what we wanted to do was create a consulting business, create a coaching offer, which consisted and comprised of all of our knowledge that we created. And so we saw an opportunity to go out and create and produce a course around personal branding, helping people build a brave brand, helping them get confident with content creation and everything like that. Now, the system we used to sell out our program that we were selling was $1,500 for 8 weeks. All right, so that was the offer, and it was called Brave Brand. All right, so Brave Brand was also the name that we came up with, and I think that was also part of the reason this sold so well, was because it was a really strong offer. And generally speaking, this price was probably a little bit lower than market rate. So because it was the first time launching the course in this form, we wanted to have it as an affordable price so we could sell it out and we could get a lot of people into it. So it was to run over 8 weeks, and it was to be a group coaching, cohort-based thing. So we did 2 calls a week, 1 call on a Tuesday, 1 call on a Thursday, and then we ran the whole thing on a community platform called School, and I'll talk to you about it in a second. The process we went through right at the beginning was to go through a SWOT analysis. All right, so SWOT stands for Situation, Objectives, Strategy, Tactics, Actions, and Controls. And that basically allows you to go from big picture all the way to the minutia, the details of what you're going to be doing, so you have a very clear plan. And so this is generally what we try and get most people to implement when they first start or when they go out and launch their businesses, because it allows you to make sure that you're hitting all aspects and all points. All right, so the first thing that we did was we looked at the situation. And a great way to look at the situation is to do a SWOT analysis on yourself, on your business. All right, so this is a SWOT analysis, stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so what we did on a big whiteboard was we plotted this out. So we knew that our strengths were that I really like being on live calls. I really like doing group coaching, and I know that some of my past clients and some of the past webinars and presentations I'd done, people really found those valuable. So I knew that was a strength, and that helped us make the decision to make it more of a cohort-based program. And then the weaknesses we had were limited automations. So a lot of it was heavy lifting. What my brother was doing was just connecting all of the dots on the back end. So that was not efficient. We also had lack of video content for a course. So a lot of what we were doing was just one-on-one consultings with people where we would help them on the call then and there. And we didn't actually have something that would be like really nice supplementary material for people to do on a cohort. So we didn't have any of that. We also didn't have a clear step-by-step guide on what people should do. So when people came to us, they had to rely on us being on those calls to basically help them. There was nothing that they could do in their own time. So that was a weakness. And probably another weakness that I could add to this is the fact that we didn't really have a big social media following, and we still don't. When there's a weakness, generally that also provides an opportunity. So the threats that we found were a threat from artificial intelligence. So is AI going to come out and create like the best course ever that people won't need to work with people like me? And then there were new tech advancements. So there was like new platforms being announced, new ways to host courses, new ways to deliver courses. And so when you have threats, generally speaking, the threats and the weaknesses show you exactly where your opportunities are going to lie. And so we then decided, okay, so if the threat is AI, let's use AI, let's embrace it. So we said, all right, we're going to use AI to speed up the process for our clients, craft some awesome prompts so people could dive into them and speed up what they were doing. And then we were also going to embrace the new technology like School, the platform from Sam Ovens, which has been a game changer. It's been really, really awesome for our clients, all right? So we actually went a bit further, a bit deeper into this. You could spend an hour, 2 hours on this, really, really going deep into what your strengths are, your weaknesses, your threats, your opportunities. And it's just going to let you know as a CEO, as the owner of your business, as to what buttons you need to press, all right? And if you're a marketing person in another business, this is an amazing thing to take your clients through. So that is situation. Now, once you've got clarity on the situation, it's time to set the objectives. All right, so the objectives that we set out were to fill up our online course cohort with 20 people. We wanted 20 people for our first cohort. The next was to create a clear value proposition. So that is essentially the basis of the offer. What was that and how were we going to make something really irresistible? And then the next thing we had to do was innovate the course, because as you could see here, that was one of our weaknesses and we really needed to improve that. And also the clear value proposition, that is so essential because especially if you don't have a big audience, you don't have a big following, having a value proposition that is incredibly, incredibly powerful is one of the best things that you can go out and do. And that's going to allow you to overcome the weakness of not necessarily having a big audience. Now, what we then did, all right, we had our objectives. Now you can have between 1 to 5 objectives, generally speaking, but you don't really want to have more of those. But those are the big picture things you're going after. Now, one thing you also don't necessarily want to do, and you can do this if you do a completely different SOS stack analysis, is something around 5 years, 10 years. That's potentially a bit too far in the future, but there's nothing to say you can't do that. But because we were launching this, we had 30 days to launch this. It was a short-term plan. All right, so these were short-term objectives. Fill up the online cohort, create a value proposition, innovate the course. These were things we had to do like literally within days. All right, so the strategy then was quite a simple one. All right, our strategy was to focus on leveraging and launching to our existing network with organic content and direct outreach. All right, so we didn't use any ads. I didn't boost anything. I didn't do anything apart from leveraging the people who know me, know my audience, or are my audience, and then give them organic content that would help nurture them, and then also have a very simple direct outreach approach. All right, so your strategy to launch and to make a lot of money and to sell out your program doesn't need to be complicated. But the idea was we had already generated a lot of goodwill. All right, so I had already been posting on social media for probably a year and a half or 2 years before this, quite consistently. All right, but I didn't really have an effective way to monetize that. So I had a lot of goodwill built up. It was like this invisible force field of people just really trusting me. Okay, and so even though I had a small audience, people really trusted me because I was consistently putting out good quality content that was valuable and was solving people's problems. All right, so it was now time to switch on the dial and start converting that attention into sales, into clients. All right, the process of creating goodwill is almost like creating demand for your product, creating hype, and then as soon as you get the right product, you get the market match, you get the right product match fit, then you're gonna sell out pretty easily. All right, and that was our plan. Now, once you've got the strategy unlocked, you want to get into the tactics of the strategy. Now, the tactics are where the rubber meets the tarmac. All right, so this is where you're starting to get into what are the actual battle tactics you're going to take. Now, if you're a battle planner, you're a CEO, you've got to understand the situation very clearly. You've got to have the objectives, you've got to know the strategy, and then you've got to start implementing what are the actual tactics that you're going to implement to bring the objectives and to bring the strategy into fruition. All right, so our tactics were content marketing through Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. We knew that our audience was hanging out around those places. We also focused the social media bios and messaging to reflect the value proposition we created. Then we created a new sales page and a new sales video that could help sell to people and communicate the value proposition that we were putting out there, which was around monetizing your expert knowledge and creating a powerful and brave personal brand. I think one of the reasons this offer did really well was because of the name. All right, the name was Brave Brand. And when we came up with that name during this process, it was like, oh my goodness, that's like, it hit the nail on the head, because the best products, the best courses, the best services, the name is the promise of what you're teaching. And so the name and the value proposition for us really matched up really nicely, because by coming through our course, you're going to become a Brave Brand. And I think when I sent people the website, the URL, we actually decided to buy the URL, bravebrand.com, which I think was around $6,000. And it was a big investment, but we took the punt on it. We took the risk because we knew that that website URL and the name was actually the promise, and it was the value proposition we were putting out there. So we updated that. I designed a new sales page on our Boss platform. We then did a simple email marketing campaign where we messaged our list, and my list is tiny. I've got about 300 people on there, but we still did it. And then DM outreach. Okay, so DM outreach was one of the most simple and basic tactics, but probably one of the most powerful tactics out of this whole thing. And we'll talk about what that consisted of in a second. Now, once you've got the tactics, these are like, okay, these are the things we have to do. The actions are actually delegating the actions out to your team members or to yourself. And if you're a one-person operation, solo operator, then you got to do all of this by yourself, but you will be fine. Lots of people do it. Now, you don't necessarily want your actions and your tactics to be like 10, 20 things. You're just going to overwhelm yourself. But if you have a team of 10 people, then yes, you probably can do more with less people. But generally speaking, we have 3 people on our team, and we are very effective and efficient in the way we move. Our idea of having a team, it's like, how can we be as close to a professional sports team as possible? The actions. Okay, so Luke, that's me, was to send 10 DMs per day, start 10 meaningful conversations per day. All right, I also had to create videos and daily Instagram stories, so posting stories on stories just to nurture people, and also posting free content across Reels. And I was also doing 1 YouTube video per week. All right, 1 YouTube video per week, targeting my ideal audience. What were the problems they were facing? Tim, his job was to post on LinkedIn and to leverage his current network, but also to work on innovating the course. And then Zach's focus was on referrals, but also innovating the course platform, all right? Because remember, that was one of the big jobs we had to do, was to make a course that was gonna be awesome for people. And then we also wanted to move our community from Telegram to the school platform. And that's what we did. All right, we went out and did it. We had a clear plan on what we were doing, why we were doing it, and what was the objective we were moving towards. Now, at the start of this, it was a bit nerve-wracking, because you set this plan in place and you're like, I don't know if this is actually going to work. But I think having a strategy like this in place really helps take that guesswork and the fear out of the equation, because you're just like, I just have to execute what is on my plate today. And one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was, don't put your self-esteem on the outputs of your production or the production of what you're doing, but rather put your self-esteem on the actions that you do every day. And so if I knew that I had done my DMs for the day, I had posted my videos for the day, I was good. And guess what happened? The sales started rolling in. Now, finally, the last thing is the controls. This is where we started implementing things like financial controls and analytics, cash control and weekly revenue reports, reviewing content analytics, what was working, what wasn't, what hooks were really popping off for people, and then what were our sales and outreach scripts for optimizing as we went, all right? So what DMs were really working with people? How could we use more of that the following day? All right, so the importance of having a control mechanism in what you're doing actually then dictates the objectives, it dictates the strategy, so you can continuously improve, all right? And so once we did that and we got 20 people, the 20th person came in, and that sale came through on the final day, which was really cool. I was like, okay, at the end of it, I was like, oh, we've got like 19 people. I'm actually happy with that. That's close enough. And then bam, as soon as you know, the 20th person came in and we hit our goal, and we sold out in 30 days. We sold out our program from 0 to 20 clients in 30 days. All right, so That is the process we took, SOS tech analysis. Now, there's obviously so much detail that goes into each of these buckets in this process, but we're going to be breaking this down over the next few weeks on this YouTube channel. We're going to go deeper into each of these areas as to what actual tactics we are implementing and some other real useful tips on how to create great content and to move from there. So if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, let me know in the comments, do all of that cool stuff. Subscribe to the channel if you want more, and I will see you on the next video.